Hello, and welcome in to Outreach Radio Chicago. I am your host, Mike Mercado, and I want to thank you for making us a part of your night. Please follow us on Twitter. We're at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Outreach Radio Chicago, and find all our videos of past shows with guests like Ups for Downs, the V Foundation, Heart of a Marine Foundation on YouTube at Mike Mercado. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. And on today's show, we have a very, very special guest. It is summertime. Students are getting ready to go to college. Some students are prepping up for ACT. And on today's show, we have the founder of the College Financial Aid Advisors and Discover Student Loans brand ambassador, Jody Oken, joins us later on today. She has some great stuff about how to pay for college, how to make sure your student gets every dime that it's worth, how to make sure you get your money's worth of your education. It's going to be some great stuff. Please follow her on Twitter for some great information. She is at Jody Oken, that's JODIOKUN. And just some crazy stats for you about what's going on in the college financial situation. There was a survey done that she will talk about a little bit later on today, where nearly a quarter of parents say they can't afford to help with college at all. 48% of parents are limiting college choices based on price, up from 44% last year. 45% of parents expect children to pay for most, if not all, of their education. Another 46% say children should fund at least some of the costs. 54% of parents expect children to take out student loans. 80% of parents worry about how student loan debt will affect their kids' future. And it's some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about how important your major is, how important it is to think beyond the 4 years, and how important it is to do the research and find money that goes unused for your college education. That is Jody Oken. She is the founder of the College Financial Aid Advisor, Discover Student Loans brand ambassador, and she will join us in a little bit on Outreach Radio Chicago. We're on Twitter at mmercado2333. You can like us on Facebook at Outreach Radio Chicago, and view all our past shows on YouTube at Mike Mercado2333. Coming up next on Outreach Radio Chicago, Jody Oken joins us about all your college financial needs.
2 kids, 1 paycheck. But I'm still gonna send them to college. With Sam, I can.
Business has fallen off at work, but I'm getting prepared for whatever the future holds. With Sam, I can.
I missed a mortgage payment, but now I'm turning things around. With Sam, I can.
Making ends meet on a tight budget, coping with job loss, struggling with overwhelming credit card bills. Whatever your financial challenge, with Sam, you can. Sam is Smart About Money, a free online resource from the National Endowment for Financial Education. We're an independent nonprofit foundation dedicated to helping people just like you get sound information about money. From everything from how to build an emergency fund to how to deal with job uncertainty, just remember, Sam I Can. SamICan.org.
I'm gonna feel in control again. With Sam, I can.
Get empowered. Reach your financial goals. Visit SamICan.org.
If you would like to suggest a topic or story you feel your community needs to hear, please email us at outreachradiochicago@gmail.com.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for keeping it tuned into Outreach Radio Chicago with Mike Mercado. Don't forget, if you want to listen to any past shows, you can find us on Twitter at mmercado2333 or on YouTube at mmercado2333. And coming up, we have a very special guest, somebody who has done so many great work with family and students. Jody Oken, she does some great work with college students. I was looking on her Twitter. You can find her at Jody Okens. That's JODIOKUN. Is that right, Jody?
That's right. That's right.
Very good, Mike.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. I wanted to get it to pronounce it the right way, but I wanted to make sure that I learned it. Anyway, Jody, thank you for joining us on Outreach Radio. Can you please tell our guests, I have a whole list of things that you've done, but I hate making it seem like I'm actually selling something, because the work that you've done with, I actually have a brother who goes to Western Illinois, and my parents also put another child through Navarro College, and myself during Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So we've had three kids go through college. The last one's going to graduate next year. And if you could just please tell our listeners exactly what you do, because it really is astonishing.
Thank you so much. Well, I help families with the financial aid process. That's one part of what I do. And then I'm also partnering with Discover Student Loans, where we try to get the message out to families about education, the value of education, and what's important so that they're educated. And what I do on Twitter is really a lot of outreach to really get families in a comfortable, maybe social media setting, if they're comfortable, to learn more and do a lot of research. This product of college, I want them to be aware of what they're purchasing.
So you're the founder of the College Financial Aid Advisors and Discover Student Loans brand ambassador. How did this all come about? Was there a something that happened to you along your process of maybe getting your education, or somebody close to you that really made you want to help out? Because to me personally, one of the biggest injustices in this world is how expensive and how hard it is for kids to go to school. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
So how did you get involved in all this?
So later on in my life, I discovered that there are a lot of things I really wanted to do. I love numbers. I am post-education is extremely important to me. So I wanted to help make sure that all students who want to have a college education could get it, no matter what. No barriers. And your question about Discover, how did I meet them? I met them on Twitter. I run a Twitter chat every Thursday night, 5 p.m., College Cash. We met. We basically finish each other's sentences right now. It's really a great partnership.
Yeah, I love it. I love the work that you do too, especially in today's day and age where so many students, so many young people, not just young out of high school, but just in general young people who are maybe gotten out of college and want to go back. It's such a great way to reach them is through social media. We see so many viral videos of cats. Why not look for something that's actually going to help you in your future? The Twitters again are at Jody Okun. That's JODI. OKUN, and you also do the hashtag College Cash, and that's something you do on Thursdays, right? What's a little bit about that?
Yeah, so every Thursday night at 5 p.m. on Twitter, I run sort of a chat, it's called, where you can use the hashtag College Cash, and it's 5 p.m. Pacific, where we talk about the college process. So it's not just about financial aid. It's all about getting into college, admissions, test scores, financial aid. So whatever kinds of questions that parents or students or families have, we have a guest we bring on as an expert to talk about it, and I run a formal chat.
Yeah, it's some great stuff, guys. That's at Jody Okun, at College Cash Chats, and the hashtag is College Cash. Now, not only do you help out people with by telling them and giving them advice, but you were part of some surveys that I was seeing some of these numbers about. It was amazing because I was very blessed in my life to be promoted and prompted to go to college. I was told don't. My father's a truck driver, worked really hard. My mom works really hard, and they wanted me to get the most out of our education since we can. Not everybody has that support, and I'm looking through some of these numbers. Has over time the college expectations dropped? Are parents not trusting it anymore like they used to?
No, I mean, parents, yes. The short answer is yes. Parents are still valuing education. So their expectations are still there. They still value the education. They still feel that students should get education, and there still is financial return on their child's education. But they are looking at majors. So I think you said that you majored in broadcasting. So they are looking at majors, trying to see if those majors are the value of education. And so one resource that Discover has, which is great, is you can go on their website, Discover Student Loans, and they have a return on investment tool. And I like parents to check that out to see, are you going to major in journalism and what's it going to pay? Are you going to major in engineering and what's it going to pay?
That's a very interesting way of doing it, because I think the key to it then it becomes is finding something that you're going to be able to make a career out of, and then something you're going to enjoy doing for the next 40, 50 years. How tough is that kind of process though to inform we all want to be millionaires. We all want to do that, but sometimes you have to cut back on certain things. What do you tell a young 16 or 17, especially now that summer's coming along, they're going to start thinking about their senior year, where they're going to go, they're done with their testing. What do you tell a young person who, rightfully so, they have the whole world ahead of them, but to kind of also have that caution that you need to make a living?
Right. So, like, for example, I have a family this year that has twins, and the twin girls were majoring in engineering, and they had options. One of them got into a highly selective school in California, small liberal arts school that cost $70,000. One got into a university, a California university, and eventually they came to the decision that they didn't want to pay, even though this engineering school would have been great, they didn't want to pay that high price. So they actually are going to a university here in California. So parents are very much looking at majors, and they are absolutely looking at cost and whether that education is going to pay off in that major. So steering students towards an in-demand career with a good salary is important, and parents are trying to prepare their students for this in college. Look beyond college. Where are you going to be beyond college? Where it's not just the 4 years in college.
Which could be tough again with young,
it's
tough.
It's
with young
a
people.
Brand new philosophy theory, don't you think, Mike?
It's great though. I wish I had, because I'm only 25, so it's not like I'm that far out of it. But I do wish that I looked at my options a little bit more. I saw where I could have gone, and that future plan. Because of course, when you're 18, you don't think about the 4 years. You're thinking about what's for lunch that next day. So it's kind of tough to get that message across. But I've heard one thing: majors. Got to make sure that you pick a good major, a good career. What are the top majors right now? Because it seems to me that it changes every generation. There's something, the new hit. 15 years ago it was going to be IT.
Right.
Is it still IT? Where's the money at for the bang for your buck with education?
So again, like that, the resource of the ROI on majors on Discover Student Loan website, that's a great place to look at that. And then this year we launched an interactive tool, which I highly recommend everyone goes to, where it talks about the median salary of people in different majors, what the cost of college is across the United States, and that you can also find on the Discover Student Loan website. So looking at those majors that are paying more and deciding is that where you really want to go. Parents are really taking a look at 95% of parents report that a college education is somewhat important, but only 75% say that they will help contribute to the college education. So really, it's drifting, Mike?
Yeah, and that's kind of the number that really stood out to me. It's not so much what they think, but what they're going to do with it. Because you could have a certain belief, like, I love this education, I want them to get this education, but if you're not doing it, it's for naught. So what are some ways then that people can pay for it, or smart ways? Because one thing I see is a lot of people take out loans that they probably didn't need to take out a loan. They could have gotten a grant or something like that. Can you tell us some of the mistakes, first off, that people make in this process of trying to pay for a college, even when they find a career that will make them enough money down the line?
Well, let's focus on like your first part of your question, which I think is key. How are you gonna pay for this?
Yeah.
So we talk about it. I call it the money talk, where you need to sit down at the kitchen table, have a conversation with your student, have an open conversation about a topic that might be really hard for you to talk about, and say, here's the money that we have. Let's say this is the free money. This is the money we saved. This is our personal savings. Have you applied for grants and scholarships? Have you filled out your FAFSA, your free application for federal student aid, which comes up on January 1st? So are you using all the grants, scholarships, and free money to pay for the true cost of college? You're getting billed for tuition, room, and board and fees, but colleges are advertising this cost of attendance, which is the sort of the marked up price, shall we say, Mike?
Colleges, they're always finding a way around things. So with that in mind, then, what are some of your do's and don'ts then when it comes to grants, scholarships, and things like that? Like, trust everything on the internet, go to a bank, talk to friends that have done it before. I mean, the websites you guys are running right now are absolutely fantastic. That's a great starting point. What else should a family, after they've talked to their student, what else should they do in between college visits and testing?
Right. So they should check, use their free money, compare their loans if they are going to do it, and families are doing it. So if they are going to take out a loan and they have to go down that route, then they need to compare their federal loans to their private loans. They need to compare interest rates to interest rates. They need to compare repayment terms to repayment terms. And then they also need to talk about what are other ways they can bring in money. Can they look for scholarships, right? So can they go to the Discover Student Loan Scholarship website where they have 3 million scholarships that are worth $18 billion? Are they looking for reward programs? So Discover has like a reward program. If students have a 3.0 GPA, they can get a 1% cash reward for the Good Grades program. So always looking for that free money, the rewards, trying to meet the gap amount.
It's the two best words in the language, right? Free money.
Free money, FREE.
Now, it's amazing to me because I think one problem that students have is they expect everybody else to do it for them sometimes. Even the smartest of students who are on top of it. And those are the ones who usually get the best spots. They get the best money and grants and whatnot because they're the first ones to get it. But what would you say to students? Like, parents are always going to be on top of their kids, hopefully. But with the students, what would you tell them? Like, hey, get off your butt. It's nobody's going to give you this money. Nobody's going to tell you, how to. You got to get up and do it, right?
So, Mike, you must be living like where I am or something, because it's so funny. Yesterday at 3 o'clock, I met with a student, and I said, here's the deal. You have to work your college. Absolutely, you have to work your college. In order to be employed on graduation day, you need to work in colleges because students, employers are looking for students who are working, who have built their resume, who have done something in college to work after college. There is life after college. And then talk to your roommate about comparing expenses or reducing expenses. And then I told the parents, because they were sitting there at the same time, I said, what are you going to give your student and how are you going to make your student be responsible for the money maybe that you're going to give them, they're going to earn, or something like that. So we need to keep the conversation going and make your college work for you.
And I think that's the big thing. I mean, that's the key word is conversation, keeping it open. It's a tough time financially in general for everybody, but it's an investment. It really is an investment to get this education. Nobody can ever take it away from you. I've always told somebody you could spend $34,000 on a brand new car. 15 years, 20 years from now, you're not going to be able to rely on that car. You're not going to be able to sleep in that car. It's not going to buy you a house. So definitely, I think that's a good message. Great resources here so far. Jody Oken, the founder of the College Financial Aid Advisors. She's also working with Discover Student Loans. She's the ambassador with them. Some great stuff. I'm not the smartest man in the world, so can you please tell me a little bit about the pros and cons of private and federal loans? See, that word right there at the end, loans, scares a lot of people. Right. But loans isn't all necessarily always bad, but what are some of the pros and cons for it?
I think, the one thing, Mike, you're really smart, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Really great.
Appreciate that.
I think the one thing is we need to get educated. So I'm here to educate. So let's say before applying for loans, families should have a clear understanding of the repayment. We talked about that earlier, the terms, the interest rate, conditions. And families should consider some loans that require repayment beginning immediately. Maybe the student, instead of waiting for the 6-month grace period, if that's the kind of loan that they have, make payments while you're in college. So you're going to have rent, you got to pay the water bill, you got to pay the gas bill. So maybe it's a good idea to make that $25, payment to your loan. Also, they should consider evaluating we talked about that, student loans, like is there a reward program? Is there not a reward program? So really taking a look, grab a piece of paper, I'm big on that, writing federal loans on one side, private loans on the other, and compare side by side. What's it going to cost you?
And again, it's just being aware of what's going on, right? I mean, you're spending thousands of dollars. It's crazy though. Like so many people, like this is, and that's why when this opportunity for this interview came out, the first thing I thought of was, I wish I would have paid more attention because there's so much money that goes unused for college students, and that's a very scary thought that so many people struggle and miss going to school because of that, and all they need to do is just a little bit of research. What was the website again?
DiscoverStudentLoans.com.
It was beautiful, and then I obviously your Twitter, and you're always on top of things now. I was also looking at
a lot.
Yeah, and it's great. Yeah, it's great. I was actually going through the whole tweets, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually learning something today. Maybe I should start paying a little bit more attention.
No, I think you're doing pretty good, Mike.
Oh, thank you, appreciate that. But I saw this. Speaking of the Discover Student Loans, what's the reward program with the grade point average?
So the student reward program is you need a 3.0 GPA to receive a 1% cash reward through Discover's Good Grade program. And you can find out more about it on that DiscoverStudentLoans.com website.
Yeah, and that's can you know what, that website, it seems like it's it has almost everything. What are some of the things we haven't talked about that are on that website, and also on your website for the College Financial Aid Advisors? I was going through the website. First of all, very well put website. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
But what are some other stuff we haven't talked about it right now that you really would like to get out there that if you just look on there and spend 15, 20 minutes into?
So I just really want parents and students to have the conversation, talk about it, get educated, talk to Discover, talk to myself, learn about rewards program, learn about college, and keep the conversation going. For parents and students to be educated in this process means a successful process. Fill out your FAFSA every year. It comes live on January 1st. Do not miss the date.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Speaking of dates and being on top of things, when should that process really start? Like junior year, you're doing the ACTs, probably a little bit before that, but when should we really be kicking into high gear? Because I think that's a lot of problems people have in general, especially for families with only one student or families that are having their first time student going into college. When should you really get into high gear?
So I encourage families to start the summer exactly the same time as you do admissions, the summer of their rising to senior year in high school, so they can get their financial papers, make a folder, get all your dates, make a list of the schools that you're attending, get your financial aid dates when your due dates. Is your student applying early action or early decision? When does each college have their own website? Have their own due dates. And also, here's another great tip. Each college has a net price calculator on it on their financial aid website, so families can use the net price calculator to see how much that college is going to cost based on what they've saved, based on what they earn, and their family situation. So do that as homework to get started, to kind of get a ballpark of what's going on.
Yeah, that's. I think that's been the message of today is take advantage of all the resources you have, and do the research. I think the research is great, but you have, and if I don't want to hear any excuses, I know I'm gonna get tweets about it or anything like that. Like, well, there's this and there's
send
that.
it over to me.
Yeah, right. But that's my point exactly. It's like there's no excuse. It's as simple as going to Twitter at Jodi Okun. That's JODIOKUN. Then you go to College Cash Net on Twitter. And then hashtag College Cash, and the time that you guys do that again is on Thursday at 5?
5 p.m. Pacific, yes.
And just in general, it's kind of a Q&A, right?
It is a Q&A, exactly. It's a formal chat. So we have a guest every week, and we do a Q&A, and it's all about the college process.
Very cool. And then, you know what? There's also I want to make sure I get some other plugs in. You do some work with the Huffington Post. How was that?
It's great. I write for the Huffington Post and About.com.
Awesome.
And it's another way that students and families can get to know the process. You know, I think families want to sort of know it in their own house, you know what I mean, and research on their own time. So anything that I can and Discover can help get the message out, that's what we're doing. Is we're posting on Huffington Post, we're posting on About.com, and even the blog on College Financial Aid Advisors.
So no excuses is what you're telling me.
No excuses.
Is there anything else
you and tweet me?
Oh yeah, I definitely. I just followed you, and I actually sent a tweet out. This is how awesome your work is, and to tell people how much people actually pay attention. I went on there, and I was expecting like, okay, she's gonna have a good following. I'll be able to tweet her. She'll see it right away. It was over 100,000. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get lost in this shuffle. And I'm talking to a famous person.
Lost, but I can't tweet and talk at the same time sometimes.
There you go. Jody, do you have any last advice or anything for our listeners on Outreach Radio Chicago today?
I would just I encourage students and parents to consider all funding options, including free money during their college financial aid process. Check out your resources. Check out discoverstudentloans.com. Follow us on Twitter, and we're happy to help.
She's great, guys. Twitter is Jody Okun. That's JODIOKUN. College Cash chat, and then College Cash is the hashtag on Thursdays, 5 p.m. over on the West Coast. You guys are awesome at what you guys do. Please, Jody, is there ever a time that you're doing something for Chicago universities in general? We would love to have you on. You've been fantastic at anything that can help students, parents, anybody get an education, go to college, and better themselves. I'm all for it. So thank you so much for joining us here on Outreach Radio.
I look forward to meeting you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That'd be great. Maybe I'll learn a couple more things, and I'll be a little bit more advice for our next conversation.
I don't know. You rocked it.
Thank you so much. Jody, I will talk to you later, okay? Have a good one.
Thanks,
thank you so much. And that'll do it for us here on Outreach Radio Chicago. A big thank you to Jody Okun for joining us today with all your college financial needs and advice. Please follow her on Twitter at Jody Okun. That's JODIOKUN. Follow them at College Cash Chat. And make sure you're available Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time for College Cash, a great Q&A for all your questioning needs. Thank you for joining us today on Outreach Radio Chicago. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the rest of your night, the rest of your day. I'm Mike Mercado. Please follow the show on Twitter. I'm at mmercado2333. Like the page on Facebook at Outreach Radio Chicago. And if you like this interview with Jody Okun, if you like Ups for Downs, if you like the Beat Foundation, and if you like the Heart of the Marine Foundation, please visit those old shows, listen to them, give us your comments. And if you have any show or any foundation that you want to hear, email me at mmercado@newswebradio.net. This was Mike Mercado for Outreach Radio Chicago.